Hey everyone, how you guys doing? I hope that you are having a super fantastic day out there wherever you are in the world, and hope that you have your friendly furry four-legged with you to help your day go good. This is the first time that we're going live from Happy Dog Cannameds, and I am Robin Swan. I am one of the creators of the company, and I wanted to share with you the reason why we made Happy Dog. First and foremost is I had been treating a lot of people for the last 15 years who have life-threatening illnesses such as cancer and other things, and they were giving their dogs the CBD meds that we were making for them when they had issues, and we had some phenomenal turnarounds. And then I had this dog that I was caretaking named Diamond, and she was pretty fantastic, and she was older, and she jumped out of her owner's truck and kind of messed up her back pretty badly. And they said that she wasn't gonna probably walk and we were gonna have to put her down. And I said, you know, just leave her with me for a while and let me just treat her with CBD and let's see how she comes along. And she came fully back around. And she continued to live for 4 or 5 more years, and all the time she had anxiety, like when there was thunder or lightning, or if people were, you know, too many people in the room, whatever, she would get really anxious. And we would just give her a little bit of CBD medicine and she would calm right down. And even towards the end of her life, when she had really bad hip pain, we were able to keep her comfortable to the very end because of it. So out of my relationship with that dog and my love for all animals and my knowledge of cannabis, I decided to create the Happy Dog Cannamed line. And we call it that because who doesn't love a happy dog, right? And happy dogs make us happy because our dogs, they're our receivers, they're our protectors, and they look out for us in so many ways. In my culture, we say the dog, it's our guardian, and it will take a hit for us in our life. And so many times in our life, dogs have stepped in front of us to keep bad people away from us, right? I'm sure you all have a story like that in your mind of some dog doing some crazy rescue for you or a family member or anybody you know. So I want to honor our four-leggeds and give them what they need. And so when I went formulating my medicine, I started looking for the best possible full spectrum cannabis, not just industrial hemp, but full spectrum cannabis. And through my good fortune, I encountered this incredibly intelligent young man named Jason Knox. And his pheno knowledge, pheno means seed, and since a million means seedless. I just want y'all to know that, okay? Because I just learned that this week, and I'm like supposedly a cannabis aficionado, and I'm like, Sensimilia, doesn't that mean sativa? He was like, no, that means seedless. So he has traveled all over the world and collected seeds from all kinds of genetics, THC, CBD, and he did something that's really traditional without knowing it. He walked around a certain part of our country in the plains area, and he knocked off something that my grandmother called ditchweed. He just knocked it off into a bag. And what that ditchweed is hemp, full spectrum hemp. So I'm going to let you see some of his products and him. Okay, oh, here he is. Here's Jason in a field of wild hemp. Yeah, a field of wild hemp. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in this next slide. Because these plants, these hemp plants, are gorgeous. The structure of a hemp plant and a cannabis plant is almost the same, except for obviously that hemp is losing, not losing, but is built without so much of the THC component. That's such a beautiful shot. So let's just bring Jason on. Here he is, right here. Hey.
Hello.
Here's our guy, Jason.
Thank you for having me on, Robin. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm so happy you came. Can you just start sharing a little bit about everything?
Yeah. So actually, some of the pictures that you guys just saw are both of some of the wild fields that we got the opportunity to look through and acquire some of our genetics from.
Yeah, look at that's beautiful. There we go.
As well as that's actually one from one of our 60-acre fields that we had back a couple of years ago. So we took this wild landrace hemp strain that Robin was talking about. That we had access to. We acquired some genetics of that back in 2014 and 2015. We then did some breeding plots where we selected the best phenotype for medicine, in this case high CBD, low THC. so that we could pass the 0.3 threshold, which is the state law.
Which is what we do.
Right, right. So,
sorry, very exciting for us.
Yep. So we still had full spectrum, which full spectrum means it has all the cannabinoids. It doesn't just have like CBD or some other cannabinoid like just THC. So in this case, it had things, other cannabinoids like CBG and CBN. And this full spectrum effect actually helps with the anti-inflammatory and the other pain-reducing effects of cannabis. So we pushed that genetic phenotype all the way to stable strain, and then we released that as well as a host of other strains that have been beneficial to our patients, for both our doggy patients as well as our human patients.
And then, okay, so when we were visiting about the wild ditchweed, right? You were saying that you were telling me what its natural compound is. Can you share that?
Yeah, so naturally, like wild, like ditchweed, that's
or wild hemp.
Yes, right.
Which grows all over our country.
Right.
All
so
over it.
so that's at just a couple percent CBD. That's at about 3 to 4% CBD, and it's biomass material, and it's about 0.1% THC. And those are kind of low, but that's seeded, don't get me wrong. So again, if you decide to go something like seedless, you're in the 7 to 8 range. But we took that and we exponentiated it up to about the 10 to 12% CBD range, and we're still well under the 0.3% THC limit, and it makes great full spectrum oil. And most of our patients have switched over from, like we were saying before, with a very non-full spectrum based medicine where we're doing just a specific one strain or single strain type of.
And that's like an industrial hemp kind of thing. So there's a big difference that maybe you can just share the difference between industrial hemp and what we're talking about.
Yeah, so industrial hemp, and that can just be a term for how it's grown, but usually what has happened with an industrial hemp grow is people harvest it in mass and then they isolate it down to pure CBD, because the oil itself doesn't have a lot of CBD. It has to be refined until it's in its end point. And once it's isolated, you're going to have a Bell dose response curve on your pain tolerance. So you're not going to have as good of a pain reduction effect without having a lot of isolated CBD or a very little bit of it. Whereas full spectrum oil from a full spectrum plant actually will have a good pain response all the way through. So you can have very low doses of CBD with full spectrum and get a great response for your pet and for yourself.
Well, I asked you to bring your pets.
Yes, mine's passed out now. You want to say hi to the camera?
We want to introduce her because she's one of our happy dogs. She's been at my property all week.
Yeah.
Our property, and here she is, Lila. And I asked, whoever you guys who follow me over here, the reason why we have a pit bull here is we're real pit bull friendly, and there's a reason for that. And I want to bring on our homie and his hound. Y'all have seen him on Facebook, and he's going to bring in another type of pit bull. Come on, that's you. This is Nate the Great, and Thor. This is Thor the Wonder Hound. Here he is. Oh, and this is his girlfriend.
Yeah, these two have been lovebirds.
They just met. You see them? See them? They're so cute. Yeah. So I just want to get on the ground. I just want to get on the ground and just roll around with them. So they've been getting to know each other all week, and the homie here, the handler. Nate, can you tell us, you've had pit bulls for your whole life, right?
Yeah.
And can you share something about how they are as a breed? Maybe enlighten people a little bit about them?
They are how you raise them,
Yeah.
If you raise them aggressively, they're big aggressive.
But we have another pit bull here too, and she's more of a traditional pit. So let's talk about these guys. She wants to go get her mom.
Come on, sit.
See the dogs?
There you go.
Are they still with us? So this dog, Thor, look at his face. Look how big his jaws are. You see him?
They're like, I don't know what this modeling thing's about.
So have you ever had an experience of your dog taking care of you, taking a hit for you, or stepping out for you?
Oh yeah. What, you want to hear about?
Yeah, I want to tell the story.
Well, me and some of my buddies was shooting dice, and one of these dudes started tripping, so I told him to get out the house, and so he wouldn't do it. So I went to push him out, and my dog jumped over me and locked on his jaw.
Wow. So he was really protecting you in that moment.
Yes, and so we had to pull him off of him.
Did the guy lose his jaw when that happened too?
No, she locked on him, and I had to get her off of him. We still friends today, and it was his fault. So he admitted, because my dog don't bite nobody. So.
And how about you? Has your dog ever like stepped up and helped you out and just kind of like kept a bad person at bay?
Yeah.
Oh, they're kissing. Look at them kiss. They're so sweet.
I was about to say she's a pretty big sweetheart. She is all, I want to say all talk. So mainly it's been those, but Naya, our other pup, is more of the security one, and Lila has had instances in where she's let us know things are around us that we didn't know about, but luckily we haven't had any incidents where she's had to step up. And yep, I mean, we try to keep her very social, and I haven't been in a lot of instances.
And that's it. Do you think that the more social you keep the dog, the more
calmer
friendly the pit bull is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And have you ever had an experience where just having pit bulls has been a problem? Just because, you have a pit bull,
Yeah. A lot of people, they don't want to come to your house because they see this big dog and they think, oh, it's going to hurt me, and they don't.
Right.
Yeah. And there's
a
lot of breed discrimination. Well, we're traveling for a couple of years.
You're from Colorado,
right?
Okay, and so they ban pit bulls in Colorado.
Yep, Denver specifically. It's really hard to be a pit bull lover in Denver, but luckily they're working on regulations and rules to change that. So we're starting to see a swing towards positivity on the pit bull end. But yeah, it's even certain campsites or whatever, like we're doing the Travel Life, they are very breed discriminate. They will not allow pits or angry or aggressive breeds, and in this case, it's really how you train them. So
but they came out with this pit bull police officer.
Oh, yeah, the pit bull police officer.
Yeah, to be police officers now.
Yeah, actually, the most decorated dog in the military is a pit bull from like the 20s or 30s. Yep.
Yeah, so that's really, that's what they're the nanny dog, right? The better dog.
Yep.
So have you seen CBD help your dogs at all?
Oh yeah.
Nate, yeah.
Diamond,
yeah. Diamond was really
helpful.
And Shavon too, yeah.
With the tumor.
She had, that's right. Another dog of ours that we really saw how effective cannabinoids were. She had a tumor growing on her optical nerve, right? And I was just applying it topically, and it just shrunk into nothing, and then it just fell off. I didn't even give her anything orally. I just applied the CBD oil that I had mixed with some carrier oil on top of the tumor, and it completely eroded and fell off.
That's amazing. And that's most of the reviews we hear is people are very keen to tell you how you helped their pet over even themselves. You know, they care that much. So it's definitely helped mine, and it helps a lot with their attitude, and if they are like very hyperactive, it helps calm them down. Our other pit has a little bit of anxiety when there's loud noises or new people because she's a rescue.
Right. And
CBD has helped calm her down a lot in those very anxiety-based situations.
Do you have any other stories for us, Nate, about like, I know you know a lot. It's like you're shy all of a sudden. So like, Nate goes live all the time, and you can follow him at nathanielcobb.com. He's the handyman, the handiest man in town, and all of a sudden he's all shy over here with his dogs. But I invited him to come here, and I really want him to be the the homie with our hand, because he knows a lot about dogs, and all dogs like him. So I know that you've had a lot of experience with your dogs. With the police and with them just being not cool that they were pit bulls.
Yeah, I had some puppies taken from me. Some guys came on my property, tried to steal something, and the dog, they ripped his arm almost off, and they came and took him. But they was protecting my property.
Right. So these guys are almost like the same kind of pit bulls. They have the same big giant heads, but we're going to bring the more traditional. Want me to hold her while you get?
I'll grab them both.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I'll swap them out.
We're going to swap them out. Okay.
Pit swap.
Pit swap. It's a pit swap at a pit stop.
Yep.
Oh. Jason's wearing little marijuana leaf socks.
Yep.
All right on.
Just so we all know what kind of show we're on.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Sit.
Cannabis show just because we got dogs.
Good girl. So this is Linnea, and she's more of a traditional type of pit bull. She has a little bit of a smaller head, but if you actually see pictures from back in like the 1920s and 1930s, the original pit bulls were a lot smaller, like she is. She is actually a rescue, so we rescued her at just under a year old during the Waldo Canyon fires in Colorado Springs. and she has been my fiance's best friend since. So she has actually been a pride and joy in our household.
Yeah, she's such a sweetie. But like, look at the difference in her head. You know, this is what I'm talking about. Is that she has this very delicate kind of head, and you know, pits, people might not know, are from the rat terrier family. They're terriers actually. So that makes them really intelligent. They, you know, they're some of the smartest breed that we have, and we've just kind of bred them to have big giant heads. Like you see this guy's head, you know, and this is what makes them so fantastic is their jowls. The fact that you can, you know, I mean, it's not just their amazing mouth, but these right here, they can lock onto, what's the pressure that they can, do you know?
A lot.
A lot. They can break an arm with just their jaw. Like that. And Lila's over here in the studio, she's like, why, who's touching my boyfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need permission slips here.
But this little girl, she's so delicate, and see how she's kind of like, she's almost got the body like a whippet, kind of. You know, she's really fast looking, and pits can be really fast, and some pits can jump.
She's one of them.
Yeah.
She's one of them.
She's a jumping, flying pit.
Yep.
He's just a big, sweet guy. You've seen him on Facebook. He's been around. He's got a following. People love Thor. And that's the other thing that our dogs do for us that's so great, is that they really help us emotionally.
Sit.
You know, our dogs help us have a better day. I call Thor the healer, because he truly is a healer. You know, he doesn't say anything to you. He doesn't tell you what you should or shouldn't do, or how you feel or don't feel. He just kind of like lays there and says, rub my head, love me. And then he'll get up and kill something for you. So, that's all, you know, say about that. Anything you want to add about how, I want to know more about the CBD that you make for pets, and what made you decide to do a pet line?
So mainly, it's very similar to yours. We had a lot of patients on the medical marijuana side that were giving their medicine to their pets, and they asked us how much they should be giving their pets of our medicine. And so that kind of led us on to go, you know what, we need to not only know what the proper dosing is to be giving dogs.
Right, that's a good stopping point. Let's talk about dosing your pet. Okay, so most dosing is done by weight for humans, and it's the same for animals. So it's 5 milligrams per 100 pounds.
Right.
Right? Okay, so like write that in a note somewhere, 5 milligrams per 100 pounds. Human or dog.
Yep.
Look at it. Look, can you see? Look at this dog. Look at him. That's what I'm talking about. He's like, I love you. So, okay.
So yeah, so a good example is for our pet one, we have a 100 milligram tincture in 1 fluid ounce, but each dropper full is about 2 milligrams. So if you have a 40-pound canine, boom, you're right in the 1 dropper full. And if you got a bigger, of course you can do a little bit more, or smaller, you can do a little bit less.
So what about overdoing it for dogs?
That's a great thing with CBD, especially very low THC doses. You're not going to have a psychoactive effect. So the more CBD you give your dog, it's really just a relaxing effect. They're going to take more of a day off if you give them a lot.
Right, they're going to take the day off.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a client who got a hold of one of their boxes, and they ate 300 milligrams of cannabis, okay? And I don't know how much CBD they got. I don't know if they got like into that part as well. Look at this dog. This dog cracks me up. See, he wants to get in his lap. That's what's going on. So if you have an issue, like people say, oh, if my dog gets THC, it's going to die. Your dog is not going to die. Where's the camera? Your dog is not going to die if it gets THC. I promise you it will not die. And what you do is you feed it milk and lemon juice until it just throws up.
Yep.
Okay? That's all you got to do.
And it can last multiple days.
Yeah. It can and your dog will pee all over the place.
Yeah. They'll probably flip over on their back and be pretty knocked out for a while. But again, this is very a THC based issue.
Right, not a CBD. So,
so
people
CBD
get confused
is
and they think, so this is not CBD.
Right.
This is what you get with CBD right here.
Yes.
So we have the vicious guy and the vicious dog, and they're both about to take a nap.
Yeah, it's a very medicinal experience, and it's very calming and relaxing. There's not, like I said, there's not a big psychoactive effect. So you can tend to give it to, like, let's say she's about 45 pounds or so. If I were to give her a dose for a 100-pound dog, it would really just be a more medicinal dose. You wouldn't see a change in reaction on her. That's just what we suggest. Some dogs do like more CBD than others. Linnea is a great example of she will, eat as many syringe fulls as you want to give her. So
he wants in your lap.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. The dog is trying to get in his lap. Let him in, Nate. Don't be mean.
She's too heavy.
Yeah. So, some of the people that have dogs that really need CBD are little tiny dogs. Little tiny dogs.
Yes.
Like these guys, you know, big dogs are kind of like, I'm a big dog. You know, what are you gonna do to me? I'm gonna bite your head off. But if you have a Chihuahua or a Pomeranian or a teacup poodle, and you're exposing that dog to a lot of different people, it's getting filled with anxiety.
Oh yeah.
So when you're treating a tiny little dog, that doesn't weigh anywhere near 100 pounds, we're talking about just a couple drops. Drop.
Yep. And normally with a dog that size, some dogs don't like taking a tincture directly from a dropper. You know, that doesn't make sense to them, but you can put it right directly onto their food. So it's really easy to just do a couple of drops on their food in the morning, and that's plenty of enough CBD for them for the day.
So when you talk to your friends on the street and stuff, your homies, and you talk about like dogs and stuff, do you ever talk about CBD with them?
Sometimes.
You know.
know.
Are they open to it?
Nope.
No. And it's because they think it's just silly bullshit, right?
Yeah, well, most of the guys I know, they smoke weed with their dogs.
So they blow weed like into their dogs' noses? Yeah, lots of dogs have been going through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything else you want to share? Like you're up to so many exciting things, you know, for such a. So let's talk about like the genetics of how we're changing CBD, because we are isolating it and mixing it with everything.
Yeah, so lately in the last couple of years when we first started, hemp strains had very little amount of CBD, not very little, a lot less than they currently have. And a lot of CBD strains have been hybridized with marijuana strains to increase their cannabinoid levels while staying legally hemp, somewhere on that gray area. But all are trying to push more and more cannabinoids into a hemp crop. And so when we first started that race as breeders, we were all just trying to push CBD to as high as possible. So it started out at 6 to 8, then 10 to 12, then 14 to 16. Now there's some phenotypes around 20% CBD. Now we're seeing a pivot to more full spectrum, more unique cannabinoid strains like CBG dominant hemp strains. Those are ones that we're going to start seeing in the future here that are going to help balance out a lot of our medicines.
Yeah, because CBG is really great for neurological issues like ALS and MS, and you know, a lot of our dogs get MS and hip dysplasia, and all of those things kind of look like that.
Yeah, and all those cannabinoids really help support each other in the body to get the optimum results. So we want to keep pushing towards those full spectrum CBD medicines that not only in research but in development, so that we can, you know, get better and better effects with less and less dosing. Cool.
And Nathaniel, I know you got things you got to do with your dog. What are you up to? What are you up to with this dog? You're taking him all over San Diego in the blue.
Just cruising.
And so when you bring him on a job, do people freak out about him, or are they just like, oh, he's cool, he's friendly?
No, they love him. You know, he don't bother nobody, so they don't trip.
Nate's normally not this quiet. Normally Nate has lots and lots of stories for all of us. So I think the dogs are, and this is an example how animals calm everything down, because we've done a couple, this is the first show I've ever done with animals in the room, and they absolutely change the dynamic. We have 3 giant slobbering pit bulls sleeping. Well, 2 and then 1 delicate lady.
Yeah, she's
not slobbering. Look at his face. He's just like, oh my God, Thor, look at that face. That's what CBD will do to you right there.
Yeah, he's
right there.
relaxed.
He's just like, yeah, I got my dude. I had some cannabinoids. Life is great. So we covered how you can't really overdose your dog on CBD.
No, and you should really, you should take heart in knowing that you're not giving your dog or your animal a negative effect by giving them CBD.
Right.
That can't necessarily be said with THC. You know, I've learned that even with my own dogs. So.
Right, and that's true with human beings too, because too much THC is just uncomfortable.
It is.
And being uncomfortable is uncomfortable, and nobody really wants to go through that, so avoiding that at all aspects.
So this is something, you know, as an owner, you can take pride in knowing that you can give to your dog. If your dog's near the end of their life, this is some of the best end-of-life care you can give to your dog. This is some of the best end-of-life care, for sure. And yeah, we saw that with Diamond, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a. Oh, you're good. You could keep going. Okay. Yeah, so there's a calmness in it, in knowing that near the end of your pet's life, they're going to be more comfortable. They're going to have less pain because they have access to CBD.
Right.
And now that you can get this, you know, online, and you can get it, you know, directly to you in some cases, and you can have it, you know, locally accessible. It's not something you have to be licensed for. It's not something you only find in a certain state.
But okay, so when you're shopping for CBD, people, let's stop right there, because there's a lot of garbage on the market. There's a tremendous amount of garbage on the market, and it's not all created the same. So how you find the higher quality is you always go through a friend who's referring you.
So
B, know where it was grown. Right. Because there's a lot of stuff that's grown somewhere else.
Source your material.
Yeah, and C, full spectrum.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And ethanol extracted.
Ethanol extraction is some of the best, and sometimes they won't tell you that on a thing, whether it is isolate or it's a full spectrum oil, or whether it was extracted, you know, with ethanol or with CO2 or with butane or with some other solvent. So knowing those things is great. Also knowing, you know, like we've talked about before, lab results, so that you know, this is what I'm getting, this is what my pet is getting. Those sorts of things are gonna keep you away from buying snake oil.
Right, yeah,
and
for sure.
in a new volatile industry like ours, you know, the hemp industry that everyone's trying to get into, it's good to have, you know, a source that can be verified.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Nate, you want to add anything to our chat? Like, okay, seriously, like Nate is going to be a reoccurring guest here on Happy Dog, because we're going to get his personality back, because this guy is like the most animated man I've ever met in my life, and he's just like, why are you so shy?
I'm not.
Did you get like some CBD before you walked in? I've been trying to give this man CBD for many years, and he's one of the naysayers of it, even though he proselytizes about it, like, to all of his friends, tells all of his friends, gets everybody excited about it, but he's like, I don't need that. I don't need that. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. It's true. You know, don't make anybody give you something that you don't feel you need, no matter what that is. Like, no, and if you feel that cannabinoids are not for you or your animal, you know, well, maybe for your animal they are, and you're putting that on your dog.
Yeah, don't make that decision for them.
Yeah, don't make that decision for your dog.
But most of, and even the reviews we get, it's the first day or two, you might not see the most dramatic effect, but I promise you, we have heard from all of our customers, their old dogs or their dogs in pain have a complete 180-degree difference when they start taking CBD.
Yeah.
So please, if your dog is in pain or uncomfortable, or your pet is in pain and uncomfortable, try CBD. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, try. And the name of your brand is
Eureka CBD. You can get any of our products at eurekacbd.com.
And it's in the feed. You can grab that, and you can always catch Nate live at Nate Cobb Facebook, for sure. Nathaniel Cobb. He's a phenomenal carpenter, you know, and he's always got the hound with him.
Amen.
So when I extract his personality next time, we're going to talk more about him. Because he's so shy. It's like, who is this quiet man? I do not know this man. Like, leave Nate outside? Like, who are you?
He's the homie.
He's the homie.
He's the homie.
But yeah, then sometimes homies are quiet, you know, deadly and all that, like just silent. So Thor's about to fall asleep and take a nap here. He's definitely, you know,
Naya wants up in the seat. Okay,
and
Naya.
she's trying to get.
You know, Naya, I'm mic'd up. Okay, love.
I want to bring. Can she come up too? Like, yeah.
Lila, come here.
Come here, Lila.
Oh, he's gonna get up now.
He's like, no, Sal, watch. Here comes his girlfriend. Oh, I love you too. I love you, buddy. I love you. Come on, sit down. Yeah. Sit down.
Sit, love. Sit.
Sit down.
Hey,
See, she wants to make sure that that he didn't get, you know, none of her boys.
Sit. Good girls. Good girls.
So these are 3 pit bulls. I just want everyone who's viewing us to see these are 3 pit bulls, and there's no fighting. There's a lot of licking and kissing and love. Okay, we didn't drug the dogs up before we started the show.
Sit.
We could all just get along. Look at him. He's like, "Where's my kisses?
Yeah.
Where's my kisses?"
Good girl.
You know, we just wanted to just give you a little chat about what CBD can do for your dog, for sure.
Yep.
And I reached out to everybody in my Facebook feed earlier on this week, and I asked you to to show me the love with your dogs. So we're going to run that for you here at the end. If you have any questions about cannabinoids and your pet, you are always welcome to reach out to me on Happy Dog Canameds or Firebird Touch Therapy. And then we got Jason. Pull you into the screen. Come here. Come here.
Oh.
Come here. Oh, Jason. Oh, that was fast. Okay. Jason at Eureka.
EurekaCBD.com.
EurekaCBD.com. And then we got Nathaniel, the homie with the hound. It's going to be his. It's going to be so fun to watch him evolve through this. Okay, you guys, thank you.
Thank you for having me on, Robin.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing the dogs down and
always
all of that. Any questions?